Hey, Lovecraft fans, I got a new one for you that's Lovecraftian, that is a very different style movie that's indie, and it's got a lot of spunk, and it's doing something that no other movie's really done before, so you might want to listen up. What's up, guys, and welcome back to Beyond the Void. My name is Alex, and today we're going to be doing a spoiler-free review of The Waves of Madness. That's right, it's a new Lovecraftian story that is directed and written by Jason Trost, who is the director of the movie The FP, which I guess went on to make like 3 more sequels, I guess. It's essentially a kind of silly movie that is about a killer Dance Dance Revolution sort of game that people play where they die if they lose. Anyway, I've never seen them, but apparently there's 4, so I'm kind of curious now. But this one in particular is a different story than that. This one's actually about a special agent who is called to the ocean for a cruise liner that has been overrun by something. Now, you don't really know exactly what has happened, but the beginning kind of sets the tone and the pace of it. He goes out there, this guy named LeGrasse, and meets up with a girl who's been in prison in the cell, and then they go to fight this entire ship full of Lovecraftian madness. There's a bit of a twist to this now, because this is a movie that is done side-scroll, and some of you may not know what that means. Side-scrolling games are the old-school games that we used to play a lot back in like the 8-bit and 16-bit days and things, where it just scrolls from side to side, and that's sort of the way that the movie is done too, where it is kind of just on a like track and they can go back and forth, but it's never in a sort of 3-dimensional way. They just kind of have it on the screen like that. It is 3-dimensional, but you get what I'm saying. They actually made this in literally an apartment, and I'm highly impressed by that because holy crap. They used a lot of green screens and they did a lot of really crazy stuff to make it like kind of actually pop off. They did use like real props and things like that, but they put a green screen behind that to kind of like fit it into the movie. And it just goes to show you that if you want to make a horror movie, if you want to get out there and actually be creative, you can. And it doesn't necessarily have to cost, $20 million to do it, This is a movie that I think some people are going to like, some people are going to be on the fence about because, it's just so different, So obviously some people will be like, I don't really get it because they don't play video games or something weird like that. But for me personally, I thought it was really kind of creative and in an ingenious way to do an indie film to give it that extra oomph that it takes, because when you're doing indies these days, first of all, it's just going to be in a sea, pun intended, of a bunch of different movies that are already out there trying to compete in the same market, and you have to stick out. So you got to do something a little bit unique. This entire movie shot and done in black and white, so it isn't old film. It's not like set in 1922. It's actually in modern day, so everybody's dressed like normal in today's world, and this is a story about a guy in modern days going out and sort of getting into the madness, And it's a movie that's from down under, and I don't mean the sea. It's actually from Australia. Now, this movie is on a budget. Obviously they don't have a ton of money to do a lot, but they do some pretty ingenious things with like the creatures and the monsters that are in this movie, which are just like an entangled mess of like arms and crazy creatures that they do different tricks with to make it stand out in the movie. There's a lot of like flashes and things in the movie that kind of give that madness vibe about it. Like I said, it makes me feel like I need to go out and make a movie finally. If you just put a little thought into it, you can really go a lot of places. Lovecraft is such a crazy, out of this world idea. Somehow they make that work in this movie in ways that other movies have not been able to do it. The acting isn't like amazing. It's a little weird to see the movie in such a side-scrolling way, but honestly, it kind of works. It doesn't really stand out too much in like a negative way. It just feels like a regular movie that's going side by side like this, when they get in the elevator, they take a step back, you know, things like that. Not a ton of gore, but there is some like monster stuff in this that I think will appease a lot of Lovecraft fans. Really kind of adds a level to it. And I like that the story kind of pushes on the madness aspect in a way that kind of manifests it in a physical way and also kind of explains it in a way for the viewer, which I like in a movie, because obviously it wouldn't be a Lovecraftian film or Lovecraft film without a little madness, you know? I actually had the director reach out to me through a buddy of mine named Christian. Thank you so much for, you know, allowing me to check out your film. And Christian, thank you for thinking of me. You know, really appreciate that. He knows I love Lovecraft, so he was like, oh, I gotta ask Alex. So now I personally would like to give this film like a 7, but I'm somewhere at about a 6.5 or a 7. It's a little hard to judge this one because it is so original in the way that it does the movie, but it also has to be entertaining and everything on all the different levels as its own, not just originality. So I have to kind of base it off of that. If you've ever seen the movie The Color Out of Space, there's multiple different versions of it, by the way. There's one that was a German one. Kind of has some similarity in the sort of way that they shoot it and vibe of it. So it's more modern in this one, obviously. You know, it wasn't something that like absolutely blew me away, but I've seen so many Lovecraft films that I can tell you many of them don't live up to the hype, aren't as great as they are. And this one actually, I feel, kind of sticks out from a lot of them. Also, I will mention that I don't think that this was like super gory or anything like that. So I think you could get away with sharing this with a younger audience in some ways. You know, there is some shooting and stuff in it, but I don't really think it was all that bad. And the monsters and stuff don't really cause too much in there, I think. I think you could get away with a younger audience on this a little bit. And it's only about an hour and 8 minutes long with the trailer. And I think they even include like another sort of ending. So stick around to the end. Although I'm not 100% sure, because the reel I saw had like everything plus like all the extras that are on the discs. So I might have seen some of the extras and I didn't get to see it on the disc itself. So, but yeah, about an hour and 8 minutes total. I would personally give it a watch if you can. You can rent it for like $3.99 on Prime Video, or Umbrella Entertainment, one of my favorite distribution companies that does a lot of really great movies, put it out on Blu-ray, and you can actually pick it up from the Amazon store or just wish list it to save it in your history if you want to get a copy. Now, if you're really interested and you like to collect Lovecraft, I wouldn't wait around too long, because I don't know how long they're going to keep these out there. So, but yeah, if this sounds like something that's up your alley, this guy going into a boat full of monsters and this teaming up with this girl, then I would say check it out. Check out the trailer. I'll put it down below. And then if you want to check it out and buy it for yourself, you can. If you want to rent it or whatever. Has anybody actually seen this one? Have you actually seen it at the festivals, or did you pick up a copy? I would love to hear what you think about this movie in the comment section down below. Got a lot of stuff coming up here, guys. Got Fantasia that we're going to be doing this year. It's going to get really crazy and wild. Be on the lookout for my sort of like update about what's going to be at the Fantasia Film Festival and what I'm excited about. There's so much to talk about, but I'm going to pick a few things that I'm really excited about and talk to you guys about it. So keep an eye out for that. But thank you so much for coming by, guys. And remember, there's a monster under your bed. He's a little upset that you haven't paid attention to him, so he's probably going to eat your fam. But other than that, thanks for coming by. And as always, long live the void.